Hi, it's Maureen. Welcome to or back to my channel, and it's time for another Stampin' Around the World video hop. I joined with some of my fellow demonstrators from around the world, and we are all designing a project based on a common theme. This month's theme is your favorite bundle. So that was really hard for me to choose because there are so many bundles that Stampin' Up! Has out right now that I had a hard time trying to figure out which one I wanted to choose to use to share with you today. I am choosing to use Perfectly Pears. This is a sample of the card that I'm going to demonstrate to you. I'm going to change something up. I put ribbon on here, but I am not loving it. So I think I'm going to leave the ribbon off of my next sample here that I show you. But before I jump in, I want to remind you that this is a video hop. So make sure that you check below at the in the description and click on more, and you'll see a list of all the other demonstrators who are also creating some fun projects for you this month. So make sure you check them out. So I'm going to be using the Perfectly Pears bundle. The Perfectly Pears bundle has a lot of beautiful images. It has the outline of a pear and then also the shaded in part, another outline here. It also comes with some dies, or it doesn't come with dies. If you purchase the bundle, then yes, the dies come with it, but they can also be sold separately. So these are the dies that can be used to actually die cut out all of the pear images, and I am going to be showing you that as we go along with the project. But before we do, I want to show you some of the beautiful papers that coordinate with this bundle. The papers are two-sided. You get two of each of the sheet. There are 6 different designs. So 6 different designs, double-sided, and you get 2 of each design. This is all I have left of this one. This is the front and this is the back. Beautiful. I love that the pears are different colors. I love the Secret Sea background in this one. It makes it nice and deep. And then this is beautiful Darling Duck here with the plaid. And then we also have more pears with the background of Darling Duckling. And then there's the petal pink and lots of beautiful colors. And the back of this looks like that. So you'd have the flowering part. Some larger pears, and these pears can actually be cut out with the dies that go along with this stamp set. And then on the back, look at this beautiful mossy meadow and old olive design, lots of greenery there. And then our last one has a pink, like a petal pink background with pears with varying colors there, some flowers. And on the back of this one, it has that nice deep sea, the Secret Sea. And then also it's striped here. You can see it has that same plaid look as the this one. So, but in a different design or a different color. Really cute. And then lastly, there's this one. So this one has the pears around the border. So that is really nice. So there we go. All right, so I chose this design for my card. Before I show you more of this, I do want to mention that I am also going to be using this larger rectangle here from the Nested Essential Dies. So this one here, and you can see that here. Okay, I'm going to move these things out of the way. And the first thing I did is I took a piece of the DSP. This is the one I chose to use. And if your DSP is directional, you want to pay attention so that you are cutting it the right way. But at any rate, this was scored at 2 1/4, 5 1/2, and then 9 3/4. So what I'm going to do first is just fold it in half, or just fold it on this middle score line. You want to make sure you line up your edges. So line up the bottom and the top, and then use your bone folder to varnish those. That's fold, and I want to fold this back. Again, I'm going to line it up just to make sure it's nice and even. And then this one is going to get folded in on that score line. Okay, there we go. All right. And we are just about set. So now we have our card cut and scored, and this is going to be our card base, just like that. So this does require a half a sheet of your 12 by 12 DSP, so you will need a lot if you want to recreate this. The next thing I'm going to do is pull out this piece, which will be for the inside, which will go here, and I am going to be stamping a pear at the top. So let me get that ready. I have some scrap paper right here. Keep that there. So I am going to stamp my smaller pear image here, the 2 pears at the top. I'm going to stamp it in Mossy Meadow. Actually, no, I decided to change my mind on that. I did stamp my sample in Mossy Meadow on the inside, but then I remembered that the pears here do not look like that, so I want to match it with this. So instead, what I am going to do is I am going to stamp it in Pumpkin Pie. I'm going to ink that up and stamp that in Pumpkin Pie. Stamp it sort of going off the page, so it looks like they're sort of hanging there. And then for the inside, I'm going to also stamp that in Pumpkin Pie. But I'm going to get some Darling Duckling ink. So I'm going to open this up, and I have a block ready. Then I'm just going to grab some inky juice here, just like that. And then I'm going to move this out of the way. And this one, so that I don't mix up my inks. Okay, I'm going to use a sponge dauber and collect some of that ink. And I am going to put some right there. And some right there. All right, let's see how that looks. I'm going to move that because I want to use that again. I'm going to put that right there. And that gives it more of an orangey yellowish color. I will be coloring in the leaves. Now, it was tricky because since I did change the color, since I'm using orange, leaves are not orange, so I'm just going to color this in. And I'm actually going to grab a darker green as well, because I did not really prepare for this one, but it will be fine. I'm going to color the stems with an early espresso Stampin' Right marker. There and there. All right, now I need a darker green. I'm going to use this Stampin' Blend just to go over this, just to get rid of that orange. The Pumpkin Pie. There we go. This is going to be adhered to the inside of my card. Just using some regular Stampin' Seal. I'm gonna line it up with the top, and then it'll also line up at the bottom. Look like that. And you can see it, there's a little bit sticking out, so you just turn your card over, grab your paper snips, and just snip that bottom part off. And try not to cut your DSP. Okay, and there we go. All right, so I do need some outside decoration here. So for the front, I am using my Nested Dies rectangle. I'm also using this piece here, and I'm going to snip it at the bottom to make it like a little flag, and cut it there and this way. Okay, I'm going to adhere that to the front of my card, also using my Stampin' Seal. I'm going to adhere it about right here. There we go. And then next I am going to be adhering this on here. I also cut out a couple of other things using the dies. So they have this like hashtag, not hashtag, but not sure what you call it. There's a word for it, but it's not coming to me right now. But you can see inside the case, it's this die here, and then also the leaves. So I die cut those already. This is in Darling Duckling, and this is Old Olive, and I'm going to adhere them now. I'm just going to put this one on with some my liquid mono glue. And so you could do this. You could just put some regular Stampin' Seal on it, on the parts that are going to get covered up. Or if you did use the adhesive backing, that probably would be the best thing to do. Did not think to do that for this one, but it will be just fine. Sometimes I put adhesive on and I let it sit for a minute, and that helps so that it won't be runny when I adhere it to my card. So I'm going to do that now with that one while I put some adhesive on the leaves here. And I'm going to let this sit as well for a moment. Put a little bit on the stem here and here and there and there. We'll let that sit. We'll let that sit. And we are going to stamp a pear. So here we go. I'm going to use this. Let me move my card base out of the way. And we are going to stamp this pear right here. So I'm going to use that same technique that I used for the smaller pears. I'm going to use that for the larger one as well. So I am first going to stamp the large outline in pumpkin pie ink. Just going to stamp it here like that. Then I'm also going to ink up the inside part, the shaded part. I'm going to ink that up just one time, just down and up. I'm going to do it one more time. Okay. And move the ink to the side. Next, I'm going to bring that yellow back in and my sponge dauber, that Darling Duck. And I'm going to get some of the ink, and I'm just going to put it right along the side here. And a little bit up here. Alrighty. Hopefully that will do it. And now I'm going to stamp it right inside there. I'm going to move it down so I can see it a little bit. It's a little bit mustardy, but it's going to be fine. I actually did stamp one ahead of time that looks like this. So I'm going to put that to the side. I'm also going to be stamping the stem. So for the outside, right here, and then the inside, I'm going to use Old Olive and get that in there. Like that. And I bet you guessed it that I already cut these out. So I just wanted to show you how I went through the process of stamping them. And then I already have one ready. So what I did already is, if you notice here that this piece is green, again, I used my early espresso marker and just colored that in so that the stem would be brown. That is all. And then I use the dies and die cut that out. Okay, so we are good to go. So I'm going to bring my card base back in. And move these to the side here. So I am going to adhere my hashtaggy thing about right here. Now I'm going to add some adhesive to the center of this. and adhere it to the card. It'll look like this. And now I'm ready for my leaf to go on. And by letting it sit, like I said, it won't run or it won't smear and be everywhere. And I'm just gonna put this here to the side like that. And we don't want any adhesive right there, actually. Let's get rid of that. Okay. So there we go. Next, we are going to adhere the pear. So for the pear, I did put some dimensionals on the bottom. So a couple of them, my little dimensional pieces that I have left. And I put some adhesive, some regular Stampin' Seal at the top to give it some dimension here. So we have, it's going to be up and down. So the top part will go down flush and the bottom will stick up. There we go. For the stem, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put some dots in the center, dots of this liquid glue. So there and there and there. And I am going to put some dimensionals on the leaves. Let me get this cut here. Sort of need them to be smaller to fit here. So one right there. And let me cut another one. I'm using all of my little pieces that are left. I'm using everything. And you want to do that. Even though it looks like you're done with it, you're not done. Keep using it until there's nothing left. Okay. We're going to let that sit there for a minute. I also cut out the label that's inside for the dies. It's a longer label. Oh, I didn't even notice there was a small label. Silly. So I could have cut that one out. I cut this one out and then it was too long. So what I did is I took it and stuck it in like this and cut it again. But I should have looked closer to see there was another one. I didn't need to do that, but that's okay. But it's good to know that you can vary the size based on what you need by first running it through full and then taking it out and moving it over to where you need it to be. And you could make it shorter. All right. I am going to stamp hello in Mossy Meadow ink. Here we go. I'm going to just stamp hello on there. I'm going to move it down so I don't put my head all the way in the camera. All right, I stamped it. There it is, hello. Alrighty. I did bring out these dots, but I forgot. I thought about stamping them on there, but then I forgot about it. But I think I want to add them to the inside using Darling Duckling. So I'm going to ink these dots up and put some there and some there. It's really cute. I'm actually going to go ahead and stick some on here as well. I'll hope it works out. I'm going to put some there and there and a little bit over here. Ah, I love it. We will adhere the hello and then we'll do the stem. For the hello, I'm going to put some Stampin' Seal on this part right there. And then I'm going to grab a dimensional, if I can find them. Here they are. And put some dimensionals on the other end here, like that. Take that off. And then my hello will go right here, like that. And then my stem, I'm going to take the backings off. And I'm going to hold, oops, I'm going to hold it like this so my stems are up while I adhere, my leaves are up, and I want to adhere the stem. And I'm going to hold it down so that it does stick, because I want that part nice and flat. And then I'm going to put my leaves down. There we go. And then that pops up just a little bit. Alrighty, one more thing. Since I'm not doing ribbon on this one, I am going to use these low profile sparkle dots, and I will add them, a few of them, to the card. I think I'm going to stick with this Darling Duckling color here. I'm going to put one there, and I'm going to get a big one for here, and another little one, and put it there. And this is my final card. Awesome, there we go. So it looks like that on the outside, and you open it, and there you go. Okay, so if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. I hope that you will give me a thumbs up. Also, you can subscribe, and then if you hit the bell icon, you'll get notified whenever I upload a new video. So remember to check in the description and click on more, and then you can check out the other demonstrators and all of the creative things that they came up with for their favorite bundle. So my favorite bundle was Perfectly Pears. Here is my card. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next month. Bye-bye.